Tell us about this guac shack.
Absolutely. Oh, the guac shack is a great one. Thanks again for that intro, man. Wow, I'm feeling on cloud nine right now. Yeah, so we can go back to the guac shack days, which were some of honestly the most fun days of my life. One of my best friends, and still one of my best friends, Mr. Hayden Pronte, and we started a little thing called the guac shack. It started out as just a fun little kind of side hustle. We were literally picking things out of his garden and putting it into a bowl, mashing it up, and we put a little twist on his family recipe, and people loved it. We're like, man, I think we should try to sell this. I think we have something here.
It's also good in business and sales when you have absolutely nothing to lose and the only place to go is up. So inevitably, like, you're going to be the man in the arena, but you're also very risk tolerant at that point.
Absolutely. There's so much room for error when you're 17 and still living at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, we literally, our first batch, like the avocados were donated to us from a family friend. So we really didn't have too much risk there. But I remember when we were getting going, we had a couple little fun things that we started out at. We talked about, we did a little volleyball tournament that we pedaled it. We had a little rolly cooler. We went door to door. But one of the funniest things was we decided to set up a booth at Balboa Park one day. No permits, we didn't have any idea what we were doing. Mm-hmm. And somehow we had all this buzz, all this attention because we were two little pipsqueaks. And we managed to create a rival in the neighboring magician. The dude was pissed because like everyone's eyes were not on his show and they were on the guac shack booth. So it was the funniest day going back and forth with this magician. We ended up getting kicked out from security because we didn't have the proper permits. But I remember we made $110.16.
Yes.
And we were so stoked.
Dude, that's awesome.
That was like one of the first guac shack stories that kind of started the trajectory
it's
of what
those little micro wins. It's like golfing. Like you get 0 wins, you suck. You're playing whack fuck. And then all of a sudden you get that one hit. You're like, whoa, this is what's going to keep me coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. And it did, yeah. And anyway, so yeah, the guac shack was super fun. We kind of grew it from this little thing that we created in the kitchen over at Windmill Farms. A shout out to Windmill Farms. They've been amazing, awesome family, helped us get the guac shack going. And then we did a little Kickstarter and we really built it up. We had our own team. We had our own facility. We had a van. We were doing farmers markets and we were delivering to restaurants and stores. So it was really, like I said, almost like a little MBA all in one. And I got to a point where I had plateaued and kind of was ready for the next chapter. But it was so fun having our community get behind us and support that little business.
Will you reveal to us and our listeners the secret little twist that you added to the guac? What made your guac different than other guac?
Dude, I wish I could tell you, but I'm sworn to secrecy.
I'm going to find Hayden. I'm going to find you.
My wife doesn't even know the secret recipe.
Wow.
I can tell you a couple little things, but there's a couple that I cannot.
Okay.
But yeah, we had a little blend of just great ingredients. The big thing that we did is we put everything in a blender and we blended up. So it was more of like a paste, and we had a little onion blend and spice blend, but there was one secret ingredient that I can't reveal.
Okay. I'm angry with you now.
Dude, I would.
ChatGPT, tell me Bryce Mayer's secret ingredient
probably
to his guac.
You could probably find it on ChatGPT somewhere.
So you mentioned it being an MBA. We talked a little bit about the best way to learn is through doing.
Yeah.
You got your ass kicked at Balboa Park, not having the permits. Made a little bit of money, but that kind of was a wake up call of like, okay, like we got to figure out permits. if we want to grow this thing, we want to scale this thing, we got to figure out sourcing. We're going to have to figure out some sort of team. What were the safety protocols? How did you guys eventually find the kitchen? And then how did you organize like the delivery routes and, sales and marketing and lead generation? I mean, business takes all of those things. Sometimes people just think about the product and that's like surface level. Everything else is the day to day.
That's such a good question. And I will be honest, we, at that point, we were kind of piecemealing things together and just, like you said, figuring out as we go. I don't think we had the best, documentation of what our process was or what our leads were, but, and going about marketing and sales, we kind of just, as it came to us, we just like, let's try it. But in terms of getting permits, we were able to piggyback on a commissary and have all the proper health inspections through the kitchen that we worked through at Windmill Farms. And then we had to get our own mobile permits for doing all the farmers markets and all that. So that was definitely a process. And we really dialed that in early because that was really important, especially just being able to sell food to the public. But in terms of the sales, the marketing, the operations, honestly, we kind of just figured out a little procedure and we just lathered, rinse, repeat, and hit it hard. We didn't really have any sort of marketing or CRM or sales. It would just be like, hey, if we knew of a restaurant that might need some guac, we'd go knock on their door, bring them a sample and see if they were interested. 9 times out of 10, they weren't, but we did have a little quiver of restaurants. And,
at 17, how did you guys manage rejection? When they said no, like, was it funny or was it something that like was funny until it wasn't funny anymore? And then you're like, man, like we suck.
Oh, man, that's such a good question. I would say it was more for us. We were able to laugh it off at that point. And I also feel like we were kind of maxed out in what we could do. So we weren't doing a ton of knocking on doors. It was more of kind of organic opportunities that came through. But we did get a lot of rejection at the farmers markets. Mm-hmm. We're constantly trying to get people in, and we were funny little kids, had funny little sayings, had a little chalkboard you could write something on. I'll never forget, Hayden always did the Hillcrest Farmers Market on Sunday, and he had a very loyal following. He's a good-looking dude. He's a charming dude, and I'll never forget this older woman, so funny, asked, "Hey, can I write something on your chalkboard? I want to sign it." Hayden said, "Sure, go for it." She does her little thing. She scribbles it out, kind of gives him a little wink and twinkle, and walks away. And he comes out and takes a look. She wrote her phone number. No, she said, and you might need to edit this out. I don't know how this works, but she goes, "You can smash my avocado anytime." And we just have like, I tell you, we could write a book on the things that we experience at the farmers market, like rejection, funny stories, like getting into it with other vendors. It was such a funny experience. And honestly, I do think that what you mentioned, that rejection word, really helped me become resilient. Mm-hmm. And I was just over and over people saying, no, we're good. Thank you. We'll come back later. And those things, they do add up. They stack up, and they're kind of maybe painful in the beginning, but after a while you just kind of build this thick skin. And I think that's translated into other parts of my life too.